This is, in fact, the official Big Lebowski sweater. So I was just to visit my brother in Walla Walla, Washington over Thanksgiving, and he's a vineyard manager there at Lake Colleen Vineyard, and they're right next to Pendleton. And so he's like, "Hey, you want to pop into Pendleton?" I'm like, "Yeah," and I wasn't thinking about this sweater, and I jump into Pendleton, and I'm looking around, and I'm like, "I got to own that." So you know, I literally, like, I've been letting my hair grow. Kind of taking it easy during the pandemic, and I sauntered into Starbucks, and someone was like, "Dude," and I'm like, "All right, this is clearly where I am in my life right now, and I accept it."
It's good to see you, my friend. You know, last year I said we really want you to be part of the mixer, and what would you like to talk about? And you said, "I've been building craft cocktails. I'm becoming better and better at it." And that's how this happened last year. I'm a little bit more beer oriented at the moment.
Very nice. Very nice.
Thank you. And then I see Mr. Inhofer's here. Hello, Patrick.
Hello, Jeff and Alexis and Kevin and Warren and everyone who's attending. Thanks, everyone, and thank you for the opportunity to. I was amazed that I ended up sponsoring Alexis. You know, he and I go way back, and I was like, "This is perfect. This is brilliant." And in fact, Alexis, I know you're going to be doing like a specialty drink. I know for a fact that I do not have any of the ingredients you have, so I've got this. You're going to be probably disappointed. Oh, it's taking it out.
Hold
It's
it up in the middle of your chest.
Balatin peanut butter chocolate whiskey. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah,
you know,
so
I've been seeing a peanut butter bourbon on the shelves, and someone was trying to tell me that it's amazing.
That's what it is. It's
But
a bourbon. It's
okay,
sugar.
Okay.
It's sugar.
Yes.
That's all it is. It's sugar.
Well, it all turns into sugar eventually anyway, right?
Exactly.
And so, Patrick, just so I have it right, there is a secret sale there behind you. Am I right on that?
Yeah, it's an extension of our Cyber Monday, Black Friday sale. It's for premium memberships, Color 21. But, you know, I've got a couple minutes after Alexis. I don't want to eat up into his time, so I could talk about it then.
Alexa, what are we drinking today?
So today we're drinking the Platanos and Mole Old Fashioned. It is an old fashioned variant. And the book I mentioned was the source, but Jim Meehan, a bartender of some renown, is the originator of this. And this is actually a book of his that I prefer. And for anyone who's interested in getting into cocktails, this has a lot of just fantastic foundational technique and, you know, very laid back, very real world. He's not incredibly anal about every little thing. But one of the things that struck me about reading his book is he talks a lot about the customer service side of being a bartender. And so much of what he wrote resonated with me as a colorist, which, as you know, we all know is very much a customer service job. And so, like, really everything he says about managing clients in a barroom setting is complete wisdom to anyone who's new to the world of customer service in the big chair. So, you know, funnily enough, this is a twofer if you're interested. And before I forget, I did want to mention that I found this book this year too. This is brand new as of 2020. If I had to recommend one cocktail book to someone who's totally new, this is my new go-to. It's beautifully laid out. It's organized in a really clever way. So anyway, my two book recommendations. So the Platanos and Mole is a rum-based cocktail, and in particular, it relies on a dark rum-based spirit. So the old-fashioned template is pretty simple. It's always a lot of some hard spirit, a little of some sweetening agent like a liqueur or a bit of sugar, and then a dash of some kind of bitters. And then usually some kind of lemon peel or preferably orange peel to give a bit of fruit. And that's the old fashioned. It's really simple, and it's why I chose it. You don't have to shake it. You don't need a mixing glass. you build it in glass, and I'm gonna wander over to my freezer to pull out some large format ice. If you don't have a silicon ice mold, you should get one. There's a bunch of brands on Amazon that you can choose from. I'm gonna let the ice temper a little bit. Not
Now, is
come up
this
to room
SDR
temperature.
ice? Is it SDR ice or HDR ice?
If I reflect some light off it, it is. So I'm just gonna let the ice sit for like 20-30 seconds so it doesn't crack when I pour liquor over it. So the dark rum that I love the most is this El Dorado 12. And there are probably people out there going, what the hell are you pouring a beautiful rum like that into a cocktail with? And I always say that if you want a quality output, you need a quality input. So there's another metaphor for you colorists out there. You don't want to pour junk into your glass and expect you're going to get some kind of amazing cocktail. So I don't mind pouring top shelf liquor. But if you're on a budget, the Gosling's Black Seal is really, really nice. It's a tad sweeter, so you might like it better anyway, but you can't go wrong with this, and it's a very affordable pour. So that's the base spirit. The sweetening agent is this lovely banana liqueur. And when I found out that banana liqueurs existed, I was like, what? And then I tasted it, and I was like, oh, they are delicious. So any banana liqueur based drink I'm a fan of. And then the bitters, you've got your choice. Bitterman's, I believe, was the first company to come to market with chocolate bitters. And it's a really sophisticated recipe. It's very savory. Fee Brothers followed with their chocolate Aztec bitters. It's a touch sweeter. So again, it kind of depends on what you're into. I found this great company, Dashfire, makes a mole bitters that kind of falls in between the two. It's a nice blend. And then I've since tried Scrappy's chocolate bitters. Scrappy's is a great bitters company, and it is delicious. So you've got a wide choice of products that you can find. So let's get to pouring. So got my jigger. I always measure everything. I'm going to go top shelf this way. So you want 2 ounces of the rum. And because the ice has been sitting out and the surface of the ice has been allowed to come a little bit closer to room temperature, it's not cracking when I'm pouring. So I've got that done. Then I bring up the banana liqueur. Half an ounce. It only takes half an ounce. You don't want to be too heavy on the pour.
Alexis, what's an ounce? What's an ounce?
Oh, you non-Americans.
I know. We're terrible, aren't we? What were we thinking?
Well, you know, it's funny because there is quite a bit of comment in the mixological community about ounces versus milliliters, because milliliters gives you a more precise way of apportioning your ratios, right? So if you really want to be nitpicky, rounding to the milliliter lets you really fine tune things. But rounding to ounces, frankly, is just simpler. And so a lot of the American cookbooks stick with ounces, and it's just kind of a, you know, dare I say it, it's a way to avoid pixel fucking your drink. There's another metaphor for you.
You know, Alexis, I kind of think Warren actually measures in mugs as opposed to ounces and milliliters. I don't know.
Patrick, I know for a fact he measures in liters. In
liters, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, that was last night. That was last night. Sorry,
so
carry on.
Now for the bitters. 12 drops is what Mian recommends. But that works great if you've got an eyedropper, as Bitterman's goes with. But if you've just got a dasher, I've found that 3 small dashes or 2 generous dashes, depending on how much of a pour your dasher does, will get you what you want. But I can be precise, and so I will. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And I'm just doing that one more time for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. My beautiful wife. All right. You can use a regular spoon. I've got a bar spoon because I can be fancy, and I've been really practicing the Japanese style of stirring. You want to hold your glass by the bottom. Don't warm up the glass. You'll be counteracting all the work you're doing. Just agitating it a little bit, 10 seconds to cool it down. And I'll tell you, nothing grades in HDR like liquids and glass. So if anyone out there needs a colorist to grade a cocktail show, let me know. That would be fun. All right, I'm not done yet. Because remember I told you the old-fashioned template has some kind of garnish, usually a fruit garnish, but because this is such a sweet, savory drink, the garnish for this is chili powder. And I've got this Penzeys Chipotle chili powder that is absolutely lovely. You just want a little pinch. Just want to test how much is going to come out. And cheers, folks.
Cheers. That was great.
Cheers.
Cheers. Thanks, Alexis. Now, Patrick is very kindly donating 2 subscriptions to Mixing Light. One of them, we thought would be nice if our guests could come up with a cocktail based on colorist terms. So it could be a magenta black crushed over ice or something. So I think that's quite a good idea. So it's got to be a name of a cocktail, but within the grading industry using those terms. Does that make sense?
It does.
So
I
you
like
wanna
that
run that
idea.
You want to run that as
Yeah.
the poll? What's your favorite Christmas drink? Is that what you want to do, Warren?
No, this is to win a prize.
Okay.
Is to win
So
a
they've
prize,
got
and
it-
it's like a custom name based on industry terms that maybe we can eventually get Alexis to actually design his own
Yeah.
cocktail based on that name. That
We
could be
can-
fun
so we
for
can-
into the chat.
Alexis.
Somebody
We can-
somebody
we-
comes
no.
up with a good enough name.
Yeah,
I
it
think
has
we
to be a
can do
good
it in
name.
Swish. Yeah, I think we can do it in Slido. We can do it as a word cloud, can't we?
Give me a second and I'll make that happen.
Yeah, if we do it as a word cloud, we're still the suggestions. We should be able to pick the best one out of it. So, Alexis, tell me, last time you were on here, I think you were working with a different company. Is that correct? There's been a bit of
He was. I
So
was.
there's a bit
Yes,
of a
I've had a bit of a
change.
journey. I've had a bit of a journey in the last year. So as is well known, I worked with Da Vinci for a good long time over at Blackmagic Design. Had a wonderful time. Version 17 was a blast to help them complete. And I saw that through to the date of release. And then I decided, you know what? I've been doing this for 9 years. It's time for new challenges. You know, so many parts of my career have kind of shifted given limitations imposed by the pandemic we're facing. And I thought, you know what? I want to explore technology a little bit more. I think there are other things yet to invent and explore. So after a bit of nosing around, I moved over to Frame.io. And I've been working at Frame.io for 9 months. Wonderful people, wonderful company. We're doing some really cool things that I look forward to people seeing at some point. And I thought, you know, I'll take a chance on a startup. Why not? I haven't done the startup thing. And then, you know, my big gamble apparently paid off 8 months later when Frame.io was bought by Adobe. So I can now say, even though I haven't updated my LinkedIn profile just yet because I've been a bit busy, but as of last week, I am now an Adobe employee.
Wow. So you're working for the other guys now.
So I'm working for
He's
the other
worked
guys
for
now.
all the guys now. Now at this point,
Yeah,
you've worked
yeah,
for all
let's-
the guys.
Let's not
The big
forget, I
guys.
put my time in at Apple too. You know,
Yeah.
a lot of people in our industry kind of ride the carousel of media companies, and Adobe's doing a lot of interesting things. So I'm curious to see how my skill set may align with theirs.
Hey, Alexis, I have a question for you, and this is related to your mixology. So when you're looking at bitters, because I don't really understand bitters, right? I don't understand like
Mhm.
where they come from, what they're from, and how they make them. Is it like when you showed us like the three different bitters, and one's slightly sweeter than the other's in the middle? Will you taste it directly, or will you always put it into a drink and see how it reacts with the drink in order to evaluate, kind of what kind of bitters you like? Like, what's your approach to?
Well, so I mean that's a great question. First off, bitters are highly concentrated
Yeah.
flavor. And the history of bitters is really the history of quack medicine. And extending beyond quack medicine into the history of how the Romans would basically preserve medicinal herbs.
Hmm.
So it became known that alcohol was a great way of preserving the herbs you might want to preserve. And so the tincture evolved in very early days as a way of, okay, you're going to take a long trip. You want to bring along this root that eases your cramps or whatever. Fuse it into alcohol, and you can bring a jar of it along with you. But then, society evolved, and in the 1800s, capitalism reared its ugly head, and people were like, "Hey, I can make all kinds of crazy tinctures and just throw them in my cart and roll around and sell my miracle cure for whatever, right?" And God knows what was in them, but some of them tasted good. And the ones that tasted good became adopted by saloon keepers because the cocktail initially was a very American thing, as a way to add flavor for something that, will literally last forever if you just leave it in the jar. It is so preserved
So
because it's
after the zombie
highly
apocalypse,
concentrated alcohol.
great. So after
Yes,
10 years after the zombie apocalypse, I'm searching everyone's house for their bitter bottles, is what I'm doing.
exactly.
Okay.
But so here's the thing. They're super high proof. They're not meant to be just drunk. They're meant to be used just a few drops, so it doesn't matter. And on top of that, they're usually mixes of like a whole bunch of herbs. Like, you're talking, 50 ingredients goes into these things, and it's a whole process to make them. And they range the gamut. I mean, another style of bitters that was almost forgotten for a while, and I just happen to have some over here, orange bitters. And so here's a Seville orange expression of orange bitters. Here is Regan's orange bitters. This is a bartender of some renown who died recently, sadly. But this is a very vintage, very savory style of orange bitters. And then Fee Brothers even has two styles. They have their just original West Indian orange bitters. And by the way, orange bitters come from the orange peel, typically, not from the orange itself. The peel is where a lot of the flavor is. But they also do this gin barrel aged bitters that is delicious. There are so many styles of bitters. Aromatic bitters, everyone.
Wait,
used
Alexis,
to.
Alexis, I got to interrupt at this point. I have to
I
interrupt
can
at this
keep
point, my
going.
friend.
I
You're
love his
standing
passion
in the
for
way of us having a drink. And what's standing in the way of us having a drink is letting Mr. Inhofer, letting Mixing Light talk a little bit. So Patrick, you're going to lead us into our social break. Please tell us about some of the new stuff going on in Mixing Light, so we can move to our social time. Sir.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. I mean, I'm not sure if everyone, Mixin' Light has traditionally not done a lot of promotion. We were one of the original co-sponsors of the Colorist mixer back in the day until CSI and Warren and his team took it all over. But so we've been big on community building, but not a big on promotion and marketing and things like that. And so not a lot of people necessarily know what we do. And we're a website, and we do very condensed training. And so by condensed, I mean, maybe 15-minute tutorials is about the average, 12 minutes. They're single topic, and everything we do is oriented to the working professional, the people who are showing up here today. And so we cover business, and we cover tools, and we cover techniques. And so just to show you real quick, I've got the website up here. And, we've got this color grading tutorial library, and, we've got 1,025 results between articles and videos and podcasts. And the basic concept is you can just come in here, and if you're looking for something in particular, you could be looking for a particular kind of category of discussion about Judd Voss, which no one's really talking about anymore. So we could probably one day end up retiring this category. But, if it's something that interests you, we've got a bit of a topic on that, and you can filter through their search tools. And for those of you who have assistants who maybe you're trying to get them up to speed, Mix and Light is perfect for those type of people as well as practice projects. So for most working professionals, finding something to practice your craft on, super easy. You're doing it every day. You don't need a practice project. But for your assistants, or if you know someone who's interested, like an editor who's trying to get into it, we also have practice projects here that you can download. One's a shot on red. We give you the R3Ds. The other's a documentary with a mix of cameras. You're getting the camera original files, so they're not compressed down to MPEG-4, unless they were recorded as MPEG-4 in, like a GoPro style type of camera. So, we provide the tools and the opportunity. And lately we've also been doing a lot of things like webinars. So we've got webinars coming up. If you log in and you go onto the homepage of the member dashboard, you see we've got a webinar coming up with Cullen Kelly. He just finished up a series on coding your own DCTL. So he takes you through 9 parts of creating your own DCTL Resolve Effects plugin, essentially, and gets more and more complex. And we're wrapping up next week with part 10, which is a live Q&A, where we're going live on a call like this with Cullen, and we'll be talking with him and answering questions from our members, and that'll be a member-only type thing. So that's what it comes down to. We've got a special going on. If you go to the homepage and you click on View Membership Options and you take a look at the our options here, the current sale is for both either the quarterly or the annual plan, and it gives you a pretty significant discount. If you go with the annual plan, essentially you're paying, like, for the first year it's $12 a month, and then after that it goes to $15 a month. I got into a Facebook discussion. Someone's like, "Why is Mix and Light so expensive?" And the answer is it's not. It just kind of looks that way. We don't do the internet tricks of, like, breaking it down monthly. We tell you what your actual cost is. And so, but if you look at it on a monthly basis, it's extremely affordable. And so that's kind of the basic concept. The other thing we do is we take requests from our members. So if there's a topic that's bugging you, you're looking for something on YouTube and you can't find it, you look on Mix and Light, you can't find it, then you just email us, and then we'll put it out to our contributors. We have, something like 20 contributors now, a whole list of contributors. If you go to the end of the bottom of the web page, you go to read our story, and you'll see all the various contributors. Many of them are on this call here today, who contribute to the website. So absolutely, come on over, take a look. We've got this special that ends on Monday, I guess it is. Whenever we run a sale, one of the things I like to do is let it run for like an extra week, simply because people always come in and say, "Hey, Patrick, I missed it. Can I get that code?" And I'm like, you know what, just do it. It runs an extra week after we say it closes. So it's there for you there. So that's my pitch. And thank you everyone for listening. And I hope to see you on Mixing Light and at the next Colorist Mixer.
Oh, man. Thanks, Pat.
Thanks, Pat. Very cool.
You
Very
bet.
cool.
Jeff, what have we got?
Yeah, well, we've got quite a number of drinks here, with a couple people having chosen Wide Gamut vodka. Did you put one in, Warren?
I was struggling to be creative at such an early hour, Jeff. Apologies.
I
can't
did
win anyway. So.
I can't win either, but I said the destabilizer. I thought that was appropriate at 2 levels.
I do like it, and it's Alexis's choice.
I do have the Dead Pixel's pretty good, and I happen to like, where is it? The Temporal Blur is a personal favorite here, but.
Oh, well, what are you choosing, Pat? What do you guys think?
I'll let Alexis make the final.
Pick two. You got two prizes.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
All
One each.
right,
Pick
all
one
right.
each.
So
Pick one each.
I'm going to pick the Gamaretto Sour.
The Gamaretto Sour.
That is, that's both something I can do something with and extremely clever. So
And
that's
Pat,
my
which one
pick,
do you like?
Patrick.
Yeah, so I'll stick with my initial one, which I really like, which basically gives Alexis creative freedom. Should we ever do a follow-up on this, Alexis, which you're going to get a phone call from me.
We'll have to.
The-
We'll have to.
The temporal blur. That's kind of wide open, whatever you want it to be. It just has to have a kick is basically all it has to have.
Yeah.
I love it.
That'll
Goes with the
probably be
kick.
the easiest recipe to come up with.
Hey, sorry, Jeff, can you just go back to that, share that screen again for us and show the
Oh, I
Q&A
wasn't-
tab?
I wasn't sharing the screen, but I will.
Oh, somebody. Maybe you were spotlighted, but that's
I have it behind. Yeah, I was spotlit.
there we
I
go,
have
there
it
we go,
behind
there
me.
we go.
There you go.
Okay, so in the Q&A tab, we're going to give away the Dell prize. The Dell prize is that NVIDIA Shield 4K box. And all we want to know is the best colorist tip. Obviously, don't write a whole essay, a quick couple of sentence tip, and you can win the NVIDIA Shield from Dell. Best color grading tip. It's got to go in the Q&A. Don't put it in the Zoom, because in Zoom it'll get completely smashed and we'll never be able to find you. If you
So
put it
Warren,
in
why
here-
don't we go to our breakout rooms and let them, write the
Yeah.
best tip while they're
Yeah.
being social.
Yeah, that's cool. It's a good idea. So it's in the Q&A on Slido. So if you've not got in there yet, then get in there, because we'll be running the quiz out of here a bit later. And now I think we're going to go to breakout rooms. Thanks, guys. That was great. Thanks, Alexis.
Really good.
Thanks,
Thanks.
Warren.
Thanks, Pat.
My
Thanks,
pleasure.
Jeff, Kevin,
Always a
Alexis.
pleasure, guys. You were both fantastic. I'm definitely too sober. Definitely too sober.
Someone has to bring the party. It might as well be me.